Hi and welcome to my craft room. My name is Laura and I create DIY crafts for the home over at Heart-Filled Spaces. Today we are going to make a paper heart box for Valentine's Day. To keep this craft easy, I've created a template with 6 different sayings and step-by-step instructions for you. These templates are designed to be cut on an electronic cutting machine like a Cricut or Silhouette Cameo. This paper heart pattern is available as an SVG, DXF, EPS, PNG, and PDF file. Each paper heart box measures 6 inches tall, 6 3/8 inches wide, and 1.5 inches deep. They are the perfect size to add a crumble cookie, small gift, or candy. I've included links to access these templates in the description below this video tutorial. I've also included with this video instructions for using Cricut Design Space and Silhouette Studio. Each of the videos are step-by-step tutorials to show you how to bring these files into your cutting machine software, prepare them to cut, and give you the necessary cut settings. This Valentine's Day craft is a sweet way to encourage someone you love. The supplies you will need for this project are an electronic cutting machine like a Cricut or Silhouette Cameo, a light grip map, a brayer, weeding tools, a scraper tool, 65-pound cardstock, vellum, precision craft glue, and a glue stick. Let's get started. Here we are at Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to show you how to upload the 3D paper heart into Cricut Design Space, and then also how to prepare the file to cut, changing score lines and the cut settings that I use. So let's get started here. On the left hand side, we're going to choose the upload button, then we're going to choose upload image, then we're going to choose browse. And then you're going to choose the 3D heart file, the SVG version that you downloaded from my free library over at heartfilledspaces.com. If you don't know how to download files from the library or how to access the library, there's a video available. There's a link to a video available down below in the description. So we're going to select the file and we're going to choose open. And then we're going to choose upload. Then we're going to choose the most recent upload, which is going to be on the far left. We're going to click on it until there's a green box around it, and we're going to go and click Add to Canvas. So when the file comes in, it's going to be completely grouped together. We need to go over into the Layers panel and choose Ungroup. And then we're going to choose the 2 black hearts together, and we are going to go up to Operation and we're going to choose Score. And then we also have these score lines here in the side panels and the support panels of the heart, and we're going to go ahead and just access those over here on the right hand side in the Layers panel. We're going to select them all together, and you can see these are just the black line over here in the Layers panel. And then if you're looking on your canvas, it's highlighting all of these score lines. We're going to go up to Operation and we're going to click the drop down arrow and we're going to choose Score. And then if you click off of those, you can see there's score lines on all of them. Next, we need to attach the score lines to the panels. Otherwise, when we go to make it, they're going to be floating around on their own and we don't want that. So we're going to highlight both of the hearts. And then we're going to go down to the bottom of the Layers panel and select Attach. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for these side panels. We're going to select all of these rectangles together, and we're going to go down to the Layers panel and we're going to choose Attach. Now if you want, you can group these hearts together as well, but I'm going to go ahead and leave them. We are now ready to make the project. So we're going to click on Make It in the upper right hand corner. And you can see that it laid out all of our files on the canvas on their individual canvases. So the very first file is a vellum background that you can put in your heart, but you can also use a different colored cardstock here if you'd like. I chose to use vellum, but you can choose the material you like. So if everything is looking good and you don't see any crazy floating lines out here, that means that everything is attached, the preview is looking good, and we're going to click Continue. Here it's connecting to my maker, And this very first panel is going to be vellum. And then we're going to go ahead and send that to our machine. We're going to load our vellum on a light grip mat. We're going to load it into the machine. We're going to go ahead and hit go. And then the next panel is going to be the background hearts. And then we're going to have the insert hearts that have these little sayings on them. And then this particular panel here, this has the, I'm trying to get it to stay up for you. This one has the intricate cut pattern in it. So when you select this particular mat, it would be best if you change your material to cardstock for intricate cuts when you get to these very detailed ones. This one here would probably be good to use as well with these words in it. Choose the cardstock for intricate cut setting. I am using 65-pound cardstock, and I'm using a light grip mat to cut these. And then when you finally get down to your these last two panels have the score lines in it, so you're going to have to load your scoring wheel first, and then you'll have to go back and load your fine point blade to finish cutting them. And the very last panel, these are your side panels. Also, you're going to need to load your scoring wheel and your fine point blade to cut them. All right, now I'll see you over on the mat to show you how to assemble these. We are in Silhouette Studio, the business edition, and I'm going to show you how to bring the 3D paper heart files into Silhouette Studio and prepare them to score and cut. So let's get started. We're going to go up to the top menu bar and click on File, and then we're going to choose Open, and then we're going to choose the 3D hearts, and we're going to click OK. Now I'm going to zoom out so you can see the whole file. So you can see here that we have the vellum heart to begin with. We have the front and the back panel of the heart. We have the 4 side panels. Then we have the 2 middle support panels. We have the background heart to the word plate, and then we have the word plates themselves. Now I'm going to show you how to prepare your score lines and cut lines for the send menu. I'm going to begin by removing what's on my mat, and then I'm going to select the front and the back panels and put them on my mat. And now I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm working on. So you can see that these hearts have like a black score line right here, and so the cut lines on this file are this pink. So now what we're going to do is we're going to prepare this to score this black line. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to panels, and then we're going to select line style, and then we're going to select this colored drop down menu from line style, and you can see that I have them both of the right colors here already, but just to show you, I'll grab the dropper tool and then I'll select the pink, and then that is highlighted here, and then we can also select this black line, there it is, and that one is highlighted here, so you can see that both of those colors are set in the line style panel. So now I'm going to close the line style panel, and we're going to go to the send menu, and when you first get to the send menu, it puts you under the simple panel here on the top, but we don't want that. We want to go to the line panel, and now you can see here that my 2 colors are set here in the line panel, and I want to show you down here that it says my machine is ready to load. So I want to show you as well that I have some custom cut settings that I have set up, one for score and one for cutting. So the black line is going to be the score line. I'm going to select the drop down arrow, and I'm going to go all the way to the bottom to my custom cut settings that I've set up. And you can see here under user defined, I have set up a 65-pound cardstock score setting and a 65-pound cardstock cut setting. We are in the black panel, which is the score line, so I'm going to choose the score setting. And now you can see this says 65-pound cardstock score setting, and this one says 65-pound cardstock cut setting. So what I would do when I go to send these is I would only work on one at a time. So I would deselect the cut lines so that I'm only left with the score lines, and I would send that through my machine first, and then when that was done, I would unselect the black and I would reselect the pink, and then I would send that to my machine, but I would not unload my mat. You never unload your mat when you're working this way in Silhouette Studio. So just in case you're confused at all, I'm going to share with you my custom cut settings so that you know what I am using to cut this cardstock. So if I select this score setting on my drop down menu and we go all the way to the bottom and I select score setting, it changes my settings down here, and so you can see that for scoring I have a blade depth of a 1, a force of 1, I'm having 1 pass, and my speed is 5. So that is what I do a kiss cut on for my machine. I would definitely try a test cut before I sent this, just to make sure that it's cutting the way that I would like for it to score. Then what I would do is I would go ahead and send this to my machine, and it is going to do a kiss cut all along where this black line is on both of the hearts in my cardstock. When it is done, I would deselect the black and I would select the pink, and you can see when I did that down here at the bottom, my cut settings for this is a blade depth of 6, the force is 25, it is 1 pass, and the speed is 5. I have my overcut turned on, but I want to show you what that is set to, so I'm going to click on the more box, and I actually have my overcut, my line segment overcut set to 0.50 for the start and 0.50 for the end. And that's important because it's a bit of an increase from where it defaults to. The overcut on this machine just slightly overcuts these little tight corners and allows the cardstock to cut these more intricate shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and that is how you will send each of these to cut. So once you are finished with this panel, you would go back to your canvas, and I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to show you these are the same color, these side panels. So I would just highlight these once they were cut, and I would move them off of my mat, and then I would highlight these and I would move them onto my mat. And then I would go to the send menu, and here you can see I would start with a black, and so it's going to kiss cut all of these. Again, you can see the settings are set very light down here. I would send that to my machine. I would leave my mat in the machine. I would not unload it, and then I would go ahead and deselect that, and I would choose the pink, and you see that I have heavier cut settings down here, meant more for cutting the cardstock instead of just scoring it. And then I would hit the send button and finish this cut. Then I would go back out to my canvas, and I would remove these items from my canvas, and I would start with my background hearts, and I would move those onto the canvas. I'm going to go ahead and group them so that I can center it, and then I'm going to center that. Okay, and then I'm going to zoom in so you can see again. This is a different color that we're working with, so I want to go ahead and go back up to the line style, and I want to choose the colored drop down menu. I'm going to choose my eyedropper tool, and I'm going to select the heart, and you can see that color shows up here now. Now when I close this, I just want to double check and make sure that my actual line is the right color, and it is. And then I'm going to go over to the send menu, and there it is. Now it's showing up. I want to deselect that hot pink that was the other panels, and there we are. Now we can cut just this one, and we want to again make sure that we are set to cut and not score, and you can see that we are down here if you look at these settings. Now I am working with an auto blade on the Cameo 4, so my blade will automatically change the depth. But if you are working on an older machine, you will need to go to your ratchet blade and actually manually change the blade depth to 6. So that's it. We're wrapping up creating the 3D paper hearts in Silhouette Studio. To begin, I start by removing the extra cardstock from the mat, and then I slowly work my way around the perimeter of the detailed pattern to make sure that we don't damage it when we lift it from our mat. And you can see that I use a scraper tool kind of underneath the pattern to lift it off without damaging it. Next, I remove the bottom piece of the heart off of the cutting mat as well. And then I use my scraper tool to remove the extra cardstock bits from my mat. Once everything is cut, you'll have a front panel, a back panel, 4 pieces for the sides of the top and the bottom of your box, and then you'll have 2 support pieces along with your heart saying and the panel behind it. We start out with our front panel and the vellum piece that goes behind it. It's just easier to attach the vellum before the box is assembled. I'm using a regular glue stick to attach the vellum to the back of the cardstock. I just find this is the easiest way to attach vellum. It dries nice and clear and has a nice clean finish. Here's the panel from the front once it's completed. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to begin to fold each of the tabs down on the back of the heart. This is where we're going to attach our sides in a moment. Now we're going to take the 2 side panels that are just slightly longer, and these are the ones that are attached to the front panel on the heart, and we're going to take a drop of glue and just add it to each of the tabs on the heart panel. Now we're going to take the end of the side panel that does not have a fold, and we're going to start it in the very middle of the heart. As you first begin, you need to work your way around slowly, just so that those first couple of tabs set up with the glue. Then you can just quickly work your way around one side of the heart. What I'm doing here is I'm pressing the inside tab to the outside panel, using my fingers to press the paper together. This type of glue bonds better with a little bit of pressure. Once you get to the bottom of the heart, you're going to fold the 2 tabs up and fold the side panel along the score line. Then we're going to take the second side panel and fold it along the score line, and we're going to glue that scored area up at the top of the heart. So we're going to add some glue to this section of the panel, and then we're going to attach it to the top of the heart. Now we're going to add a drop of glue on each tab on the other side of the heart. Then we're going to slowly work our way around the other side of the heart, attaching each tab to the side panel. Lastly, we're going to add some glue to the bottom side panel tab, and then we're going to close it to finish the bottom portion of the heart. Now we flip the top of the box over and we grab the 2 support panels and fold them down the middle. And we're going to add the glue to the longer support panel. Then we're going to carefully insert it into the box and press it to the top of the box. This just adds extra support and covers the tabs so the box lid slides in easily without getting hung up. Now we're adding glue to the bottom portion and we're going to slip it into the inside of the box. Again, covering all those tabs and lining it up nicely so it's smooth and offers extra support. Now we're going to take the two shorter side panels and we're going to fold them on the score lines. And we also have the back panel here of the heart, and we're going to go ahead and fold down all the tabs on the heart. Next, we're going to add a drop of glue to each of the tabs on one half of the heart. Then we're going to start in the very middle, and we're going to slowly work our way around, pressing the tabs into the side panel. And just slowly work our way all the way around one half of the heart. Now we're going to fold down the tabs on the inside of the heart, and then we're going to fold the side panel in along the score line and then reposition our tabs. Now we'll take our second side panel and we are going to glue it to the top of the inside of the heart. Now we're going to add a dot of glue to each tab on the other side of the heart. And then we can begin to attach the side panel again to each of the tabs. Then finally we're going to add some glue to the folded portion of the side panel, and we're going to close up the bottom of the heart. The last step is to add your sentiment to the front of the heart. We're going to do that by adding some glue to the back of the word plate. Now we're going to add the word plate to the front of the heart. So we're just going to add some glue to the back of the word plate, and then we're going to gently set it into place. I'm going to give it a little bit of a press, but not too hard. We're going to try to be gentle with the box. Then we're going to flip it over, and here's where we're really going to press it into place so the box is supported. And now we can add our lid to the box bottom and close it up, and we are all done. Didn't these just turn out lovely? They're just such a great project for Valentine's Day. Would make a wonderful gift for any loved one. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. To access any of these files in my free library, visit heartfillspaces.com. Thanks so much for watching.